I got this message on Instagram from our student. He says, just wanted to thank you for your videos. Your videos helped me get a 10 in Celpip. The scores were 10 listening, 10 reading, 9 writing, 10 speaking, and 10 average. How did this student manage a 10 in reading with my videos? And I'm going to show you some of those strategies today. The 10, 9, 7, whatever score you get, it's really determined by this part 4, the hardest part. Most people make a lot of mistakes here, scores go down. But if you can tackle this, you're good. So what happens in part 4 is you have two people talking. They're arguing with each other. So I have these sample paragraphs right here for you. Paragraph A, one person is giving an opinion. Paragraph B, the other person opposes. I'm going to teach you in this video what you're supposed to do in the exam. This strategy saves you so much time because you understand and almost memorize the passage. You're able to understand the concept, which helps you answering the question, and you just don't stress because the entire understanding and comprehension becomes so easy. Let me show you how. So we have this first side of the story. It's always like this. The first person, Samantha in this case, comes in, gives her opinions. It says Samantha strongly believes that implementing a 4-day work week would significantly improve both employee well-being and productivity. So I'm going to break down this paragraph. If you want, you can take a screenshot or you can pause the video and read it for now. But basically, we can see Samantha's overview is people should work less. Employees should be working 4 days instead of 5 days a week. Then when we look at the opposing view, and once again, you can pause the video, you can read this entirely. I'll break it down later so you don't have to. But here, this person, Kevin, obviously disagrees. Kevin says that a 4-day work week might lead to something wrong. Obviously, he's going to prefer the opposite, which is working 5 days or even more. What you got to do is you have to break it down. You have to break down the information in bits and pieces, and that's the magic formula I'm going to show you here. Because if you're looking at these two paragraphs at once, it's a lot. It's hard to take in, hard to come up with the right ideas, but you have to do a mental practice, which is right here. We're going to look at Samantha's paragraph once again, but we're going to break it down. So now let's read it together. This is important. We're going to do this practice together. It says here, Samantha strongly believes that implementing a 4-day work week would significantly improve both employee well-being and productivity. So she wants that. Okay, got her opinion. Citing recent pilot programs in various European countries, these kinds of things, they are never questions. The question will never ask you, where was the program? European, American, African? No. So garbage. Okay, move on. Getting the main idea, the concept. Okay. She argues that workers were not only more focused, but also reported higher levels of job satisfaction. So that's what I need to know. She says, if you have less work, you're actually more happy, more satisfied, and you are more focused. So if I can group all of this into one sentence, how would that sound? It would be 4-day work week improves productivity and employee satisfaction. That's it. I don't need all these sentences to remember in my head. Just one sentence, one summary is enough. Let's see if I can do this again, and I'll show you what happens at the end. The next part says, according to her, the extra day off allows employees to recharge mentally and physically, which results in fewer sick days and higher retention rates. Lots of things here. Higher retention, fewer sick days, recharge mentally and physically. Honestly, the question could come up from any of these things, so I'm not going to ignore any of those. She also points out, in an increasingly digital world, efficiency should matter more than clocked hours. Now that sentence is gibberish. It's obvious, like efficiency should be more important. I don't think there's any question that would ask that. It's common sense. So I'm not going to include that in my summary. My summary would be, extra rest leads to fewer sick days, which is what she mentioned. It's better retention, and what I mean by that is better employee retention. I don't need to write the entire thing, just summary. And a more energized workforce. That's it. And now things like they will be efficient, which she said later, is obvious because you have an energized workforce. So we're getting the main idea, not repeating the ideas. Continue. In her view, clinging to the traditional 5-day model is outdated, especially when evidence suggests or shows that reducing work hours doesn't reduce output. Samantha insists that a cultural shift is overdue and inevitable in the modern workplace. What's she basically saying? She's saying it's going to happen and it's important that we go this path. So she's saying efficiency is more important than hours worked, and says that the 5-day model is outdated, going to be replaced soon. We're not copying the exact words, by the way, just so you see. She said it's inevitable in the modern workplace. For me, that's too academic. In my understanding, I'm going to say something that I can relate to. So I'm going to say it's going to be replaced soon. Something that helps me mentally understand. I'm going to speak to myself as a little baby. So it's simple words. So what I have done is summarized all the information. I have explained it to myself in easy words, simple terms, and now this is the entire gist in 3 bullet points. Instead of looking at all of that, you have all of this right here. Now, you don't have a pen and paper in the exam. You have it for the listening section, not for the reading section. You want to do this practice in your head. The more you do, the better you'll get at it, and your memory will improve so much. That also helps you save time. Instead of you looking at the passage every time, you just retain this in your head. Now, we have done something similar for Kevin. Few things I gotta mention here. Some important parts, something like this. We'll discuss that in a second. But before I break this down for you, why don't you do this yourself? Don't look at my bullet points right here. Pause the video and try out this paragraph for yourself. See if you can do it. Now, if you want me to continue, here's what Kevin is saying. Obviously, he disagrees. First sentence is obvious. Now, he argues that compressing 5 days of work into 4 will create unsustainable pressure, especially in industries where tasks are time-sensitive or client-facing. So all of that, the first 3 lines you see here, are just, again, obvious. Like, he's gonna say it's a bad thing, which is what he's saying, but these are your keywords where questions can come up. It's in time-sensitive and client-facing industries, like when you have customer service or you have deadlines. That's when it's difficult to manage. So how I'm going to wrap this up is, obviously, he thinks 4-day work weeks create unrealistic pressure, especially in time-sensitive or client-focused industries. Now, I understand client-focused. If you want to say something that you will understand, for example, customer service industries or call center industries or people center industries, whatever words you can use to relate to your understanding better, use them. Okay? Now, the next part, Kevin goes on to say, while he acknowledges some success stories. Now, before I continue, I put an arrow here to tell you something. This kind of sentence, while he acknowledges some success stories, these sentences are important because a lot of the times in the exam, I've seen questions asking, does Kevin partially agree with this other person? Completely agrees, disagrees, or doesn't agree at all? So here, he partially agrees because I read this sentence. He acknowledges some success stories. This sentence usually has a lot of questions with it. So make sure to not ignore it. Now, Kevin believes they are not universally applicable and fail to consider logistical hurdles. That is a keyword. It's something where a new point, a central idea has started. That is something you always want to write down. Warns that, yeah, right here, logistical struggle. Let's continue though, such as staffing, client availability, and coordination. Now that you don't need. The such as blah, 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 you don't need. You need the main idea in your summaries. He also emphasizes that certain employees may end up working overtime on their day off to catch up, thereby defeating the purpose entirely. So he's saying that workers might still work on their day off. So it's not a good idea. Plus, logistical struggle. That's it. And by this plus, I'm telling myself, these are the 2 main points discussed in this body. Okay, towards the end, he said, instead of reducing days, the focus should be on increasing flexibility within the 5-day structure, allowing people to tailor hours without disrupting operational flow. So basically, summarize that simple, says that 5 days, keep it there, but make it flexible so people can customize their work. Does this say customize their work? No. I said customize their work because that's how I understand that sentence. What I'm also doing here constantly by using my own words and phrases is I'm paraphrasing the subject to understand the concept. When the examiner paraphrases the words in the question, I will have no problem because I already understand the concept. So this helps you with that, helps you with comprehension, helps you with the time, and it just makes the whole process super easy in part 4. Just by looking at these 2 paragraphs, you can go in and answer all questions, almost all, accurately without even going back. That's the magic of this strategy. So I hope you use it. I hope you apply it immediately, and you will immediately see results and an improvement in your comprehension skills. Guys, please like, share, and subscribe. Really appreciate it. All the best.